I'll be with Cheryl A. Busterman. We'll be swapping notes and doing things that I don't know how to rhyme it. I'm not a poet, and you know it. So we're gonna just attempt to go live, and hopefully this will work out.
Thanks.
No. Maybe I should just come up with something.
Sound. Okay. Someone's crying. Okay, I press record already.
Check out my. We're having trouble.
Okay, you guys are on. Yay!
How come my live on my this one's not on? On my Instagram.
Oh wait, I cannot. Wait. Pause. I cannot record. Joe, you gotta let me record.
Okay, just record now.
Huh? Are we gonna record?
Yeah, she's gonna record. Yeah.
Yeah, but she needs us to allow her to record.
Huh? How?
Yeah, because I didn't
How
start the
do I-
Zoom. You click on my right click on my face, and then it says like allow record.
There's no allow record.
Then you all record lah and send me the file, I guess.
Okay, never mind. It's recorded on YouTube. I can just download. You can download the file directly from YouTube. So it's all in 1080, beautiful 1080p.
Okay.
Okay, you guys are on. So beautiful. Everybody
There
looking
you go.
so fine and crispy.
Fine and crispy like Peking duck.
Yes. Like picking up.
Okay, you guys are on air.
Is it? We're on air now?
Yeah.
I thought you're doing your jump thing. You're not gonna do your intro.
Who's gonna do the intro?
You.
I was playing just now.
Oh, I
It
didn't.
was already on. I told you.
Oh my god, really?
It's alright.
Do you know what happened? He asked me to rap last minute. And I'm like, Allah, Allah, hai, my anak pula. You know, the whole reason we're doing this live is because we tried our best to do it recorded and we said, this is just not working out. So, we're doing it right now. So, I'm Daphne Iking.
And I'm Shell Ibustawan.
And you are watching Swapping Notes with us. And today we are going to be discussing, if you can hear our voices amongst the tears and laughter and cries and screaming behind us, about parenting children of different ages, right?
Yep. So this is our very first live episode, but
That's
it's
right.
also our 5th Swapping Notes episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yay!
Woohoo!
Small wins, small wins.
Small wins indeed. Okay, I'm just opening our restream so I can see if there's anyone talking to us. Unfortunately, we can't go live over Facebook. So what Cheryl's going to do is she's going to edit this version, make it a little bit more choppier, and we'll post it up over my Facebook page also. But nonetheless, we are doing this live. So if you're watching this over my Instagram, please head down over to my YouTube page to get the full experience. Okay? Gitu. So so basically, I forgot to click on video here. So basically, the whole reason why we are doing this topic is purely because both of us are parents to children of too many children put together. I really don't know how my auntie who has 15 kids managed to do it. I really like salute dia.
I don't even know how you do it. Like, too many. So yeah, Daphne has 4 children, as most of you probably already know. And I have 3. And put together, it seems like they're a lot because they are. The thing about yours is though that it's quite a wide range, right, in age. So you've got like, how old is Isabel now?
Isabel's turning 13 this month, so she's going to be a teenager. And then Iman
is how old?
Iman is called, I can't even remember my kids' ages. Iman is going to be has turned 9. Isadore's 4, and of course Elon is turning 6 months soon. So you've got a big gap there, and I only notice that I have to handle each kid differently because of the fact that Isabel now is no longer a kid. She's still a child, but she's no longer a kid. She wants to be treated like a young adult. But it's hard for us to treat her like a young adult because of the fact that she sometimes still acts like a kid. So that's where it gets a little bit tricky because you want to try, we've all been there. We've all been through puberty and going through the difficult times and trying to understand our hormonal changes in our body. At that point, we didn't understand. I just wanted to be a pure rebel, right? So now I'm a little bit more mindful when I'm dealing with Isabel, and all of the kids have different unique personalities as we all do. So how do you tackle them one by one when one of them, one is better than the other in doing certain tasks? Like Iman's obviously a better looking after younger brother, whereas I wouldn't be too confident in trusting Isabel with that. But then when it comes to cooking, then Isabel's the person to go. So, and that's where you want to be a little bit more mindful because you don't want to seem to be more, have more favoritism towards one child to another. I don't know about you, because your kids are, the 2 girls are maybe 2 years difference?
No, my kids are actually around the same as your last few. So Athena is also 9.
Okay.
Eleitia has just turned 5 in August. And Achilles turned 1 in October. That you saw with the big shebang. Yeah. But the thing about parenting is that it's a full-time gig that doesn't have shifts. So it's not like from this time to this time you parent one child, and then from this time to this time you can parent another child, and then tailor it to suit their needs, right? Because as a producer, that would be the most ideal thing for me to do. But that's not the case. You have to parent all the children all of the time, which means like in the morning, I've got to make sure Athena does all her online schoolwork. At the same time, make sure Eleitia has all the materials for her online school, and also make sure I pump milk for Achilles and make sure he doesn't fall off the bed at the same time when he wakes up. So it's a full-time triple job, you could say. And because they have different needs and because they're at different ages, it requires a lot of mental gymnastics in a way.
I like how you put it, mental gymnastics, because the more children that you have in the equation, the dynamics of the whole family really does change. I mean, obviously there's more responsibility, there's more children to look after, more mouths to feed, but it's also because it puts a toll on, okay, for this child, they need me more, obviously, because I'm still breastfeeding, so I have to be with this child a little bit more because he's so dependent on me. Whereas Isabel, we can't neglect her either because she probably has issues and you want to still keep in touch with her, what's happening in her head, whether she wants to talk to you or not, you know?
Yeah. I'm always trying to remind myself that just because the older kids are capable of doing things themselves, like Athena, for example, right? She can bathe herself, she can do most of her schoolwork herself, that I also need to make specific time to spend with her. That's not like, are you doing your work? Are you eating together? Stuff like that. Because you tend to forget because you have smaller kids who actually like physically need you there, like you just said. So it's a little bit of a challenge, especially when they're so different. Like Athena, for example, she's more we're into different things, right? The kids are all into different things. So Athena is more into doing things like art, and she's more into reading. And currently, our thing together is playing the Switch. So we play Animal Crossing together. So she's the primary on the account on the Animal Crossing island, which means that she gets to control the whole island, and I just get to live there. Which can be frustrating because for like the longest time we were just living in like a kampong because she was not developing our island. And then with Eleitia, she doesn't like to go out, she doesn't like to spend time with people, and she has no patience for all these like small things. So Eleitia's idea of spending time together is mostly like going for walks and talking. She likes to talk, you know. She's like a real communicator, as you very well know.
I love her.
She likes to talk a lot, and she just wants you to like listen to her. And she also likes to sing, and she likes to basically make a lot of noise lah. So all she wants from you is really to just listen. And then when it comes to Achilles is currently developing so many things. So you have to make sure that you do all the right developmental things so that your child is not like slow lah, right, or whatever. So, you know, I've constantly got to make sure that I play stimulating games with him and, you know, do sensory play with him. It's so much. It was a little bit daunting at first when Achilles came along because I had already gotten a handle on having 2 kids. And then I had another one. And I was and this other one was so small and so fragile, and you have to like really take care of it. I mean, okay, it was a good thing that for the early parts of his life they just sleep, right? But then later on, like now when he's a little bit older and he just wants to move around all the time, dividing the time to make sure that everybody gets enough parenting is a lot. It's a lot to do. So you know, while we also have to sort of parent them separately, we also kind of have to do things together, right, as a family. So how do you do that?
Yeah, that's a bit tricky because at the end of the day, we also have our other commitments, other roles. We're also working from home or wherever. We're wives, we're daughters, sisters. So you're right. At the end of the day, as much as we want to pay attention and spend quality time with each children or each child, how do we now consolidate and make sure that everyone gets the same attention and everyone gets to do something that everyone will like? And that's going to be a little bit tough because like your kids, my kids also have different interests. So I think at the end of the day, it always boils down to me. Like for me, having playtime together, I think that's crucial. But then how do you make it so that the older kid won't say like, oh, that's too kiddish for me? So board games is one thing that I feel works out. Although Isidore will come in like, smash up stuff, but we try as a family play board games or simple things like, good old, let's go into switch into Cam 2. We've got all these, what do you call these? PlayDohs and art stuff or arts and crafts that they can do together. And that's one thing that I know Belle would like because she likes to do arts. And Iman, though she's not so as in tune to arts, but it's something that she enjoys doing with the sister. So she really looks up to the sister, and there are other ways to sort of, attract her to come and play the game together. When the brother sees all the sisters and everyone's like, oh, everyone's there playing something, then he automatically comes and joins in lah. So yeah, you have to find that activity. Just now earlier on, we were cooking, or rather they were baking gingerbread cookies with this DIY Christmas kit that was sent over to us, and everyone got on board. So one person was baking, one person was decorating. So I guess it's things like that that we can do together as family and get the kids involved, and at least, you know, I can like, okay, I've done my batch of being a parent to all these 3 kids, because I've been having Elon or the baby all to myself, right? I mean, he has most of my attention, but now, okay, these 3 kids, but I don't have the time. What can I do so I don't feel the guilt of like not, you know? What else would you?
Actually, I noticed that you have like our play diary stuff there. It's good that your stuff is still intact, because mine is just completely finished. But it was great. It was a really great experience playing with our play diary stuff, because I realized that there was no age restriction to who could play with it. So it even came down to a point where like even Achilles could actually play with it, as long as we supervised him, because you know it's sensory play, and it comes like I got the shape pasta, and I also got the PlayDoh and a bit of the potions. So Athena and Eleitia managed to do like the PlayDoh and the potions together, but Achilles also got to play with the pasta and the PlayDoh, as long as I was watching him, you know, so that he doesn't put it into his mouth lah, basically. But it was a nice like group activity that everybody could do, and it was really like it's sort of free play, so you don't have to supervise them so much, and they can just do whatever they want. So it was really wild, and they had so much fun. And usually in this house, it's always a case of we try to do as many things as we can together, but obviously some things Athena is going to be better at, like because she's physically bigger, or because she's maybe older and she's done it before. So then there's always a case of where Eleitia sort of feels like, but I can do it too, and then she feels a little bit slighted in a way, because she's like, I'm not a baby anymore, you know, I can do these things, you know, I don't need you to like tell me how to do it. Or she feels like, you know, when we go cycling, for example, Tina doesn't wait for her, and then she feels a little bit slighted because, you know, she's smaller and then she's slower. Yeah, so then she doesn't want to go cycling. She only wants to go for a walk with us, because then she can cycle in front and we're walking at the back, you know?
And that's the tricky part again, when we're trying to consolidate play for all of them, because you're right about how the older kid will feel like, oh, I've done this, I know the instructions already, but you have to still explain the instructions or how things are supposed to be done, you know, accordingly to the younger kids, because obviously the older kid has gone through it. So that's where it gets tricky, because then I remember doing this with Belle, and I'm like telling everyone, okay, you have to use this, you have to make sure that there's, for instance, like when we were doing arts and craft, I said, make sure there's newspaper, because I don't like the mess being there, and she's like, oh my god, my mother's nagging me. But Iman, you could see she was like, oh, okay, I have to do this. Why? Because you'll get messy. I see. Whereas Isabel's has heard that speech over and over again. So I have to be very careful on how I stand the approach, but still being firm. You know what I mean?
It's the biggest problem for me is trying not to diminish the smaller one's experience, because she's obviously experiencing it for the first time, and the older one might have already experienced it before. So I try to do group activities that is a first experience for everybody. So like our play diary thing, the potions, like they played with PlayDoh before, but they never played with PlayDoh and pasta together. And like the potion thing was a completely new thing that they both could experience together. So when everybody's having like a first time experience, then it's great.
Correct.
But other group activities don't work out so well like that, because then Athena's like, yeah, you know, I did this already in kindergarten. Oh, you know, I've done this before. I know how to do this already. And then she means well, she's trying to teach her sister, but her sister's like, I don't need to be taught. I don't want to be taught. I want to experience it for myself, which is also valid. So finding the balance and finding tools to help you with that balance is also sort of difficult. Another thing that I realized is also very important is space. So you need to ensure that the shared space is a space that can accommodate sort of everyone. So like for my kids now, in my bedroom, I laid out a budakko tika. So the tika is actually meant for Achilles, but I noticed that all the kids like to play on it because it's a shared communal space in my bedroom, where they feel, safe, and they like having a space where they can play in my space.
I have to agree with you on that one. I've got my tikar just outside the living area, and initially we thought it would be a great place for Ilan to have his tummy time, right? But in the end, it's like everyone's there, including myself and my husband. In fact, it's where our favorite spot to hang out now is, and until the kids, the two older kids, take their bantal, take their selimut, and they sleep there. They've created camps there. And I'm like, well, you have your own bedroom. You've got a really nice bed, a nice mattress. Why on earth do you want to just sleep here? Probably also because we do a lot of work here in this office. So they want to be close to us. So I don't mind so much. I mean, at the end of the day, as long as they're safe, it's fine.
Yeah.
But yes, so that's another thing that has brought the family together. The other day I did this like massive spring cleaning, and all the junk was on our dining table. So we had to makan, and then we buka tikar lah. So it was quite nice because that's something that's very, in my kampung we do that a lot. So we eat on the tikar, and we have like, but for the kids it's a little bit more, they're a little bit more jungle with the whole, sitting down, squatting down, basila, but I said, this is how my kampung, we do it like this. So we belajar lah. And now they like it. So they're like, are we going to do it? Are we going to do picnic style? So I like that. I like the fact that we have something else that's different, especially since we're still staying safe during the CMCO. And even though we've got enough space around this house, it can still especially be since we're a little bit, we get into each other's face sometimes. So we always try to find ways to be comfortable with each other, staying close to each other, but also giving each other some room for, some downtime.
I think we always feel like it's so important to give the kids individual spaces and their own private spaces, not really realizing that what they want is a more communal space for them to share with us. So it's like, you each have your own room, you have your own beds, you have your own work spaces and everything. And yet, my kids will still take their homework and put it on the floor, on the tikar, while I'm pumping. And I'm like, why are you doing your work here? And they're like, oh, because, it's just got more space on the floor to do my work. Okay. And, sometimes when Achilles is napping, he likes to take naps on my king-size bed because he's so big, right, this boy. And Athena will take her book or take her iPad and sit on the floor on the tikar so that she can be close to Achilles in case he cries or wakes up, and then he can pet him. And so does Eleitia. But Eleitia is not very effective because she's very loud, right? So then just pick him up. But I realized that bringing in the tikar into my room sort of made it a shared space where it doesn't really belong to anybody, even though it's in my room. So they all feel like it's sort of an open invitation to come and to just, spend time in that space that is supposed to be mine and my husband's, but to everyone. And that sort of helped keep everyone together in this time where we're already all stuck together, but it's not like, it's sort of given a positive spin to it lah, in a way.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So that's been how it's been working out. But
I used to complain when the kids would come and cram into our rooms and try and sneak their way into sleeping with us. I'll joke with my husband saying, okay lah, never mind, at least they're sleeping in one room. We share one aircon and we save electricity bill, But then, of course, naturally, I wanted my space. I wanted to have access to my own TV, to watch my own shows, and I didn't have to feel guilty, ala, kasihan the kids, they won't understand what TV shows I'm watching. I like all my political and, and my husband has his own. So it was nice to have them not around. But at the same time, now that I'm facing a preteen, and she doesn't really want to hang out with us as much as she used to, I'm appreciating all this time when they do want to spend time. So it's okay. It's just going to be for a few years. And I'm just going to allow that and just have still some moments with the husband when we need to get jiggy with it. But other than that, I'm just going to appreciate it as long as they still want to hang out with us.
How are you coping with because you have a 13-year-old who's basically a teenager-ish, and then you've got Iman kind of a preteen. So for me, Athena is already going through the motions of sort of becoming a teenager, even at 9, because she's kind of a little bit, even physically, a little bit more mature than her peers, I guess you could say. And she's already at that point where we give her a little bit more independence. Everybody here follows a schedule. as you've
I've
seen.
seen your schedule. Oh my
Yeah, so
god.
everybody here follows the schedule. And in Athena's schedule, there is a block of time in the evening where she can just go and play with her friends, the neighbors lah, basically. And it's up to her, like where she goes and plays, like which house or whatever. Most of the time, they're in my garden. So, but it's her time, you see. And on the weekends when she's here, we try to spend time together, like watching a movie. But the other weekend, we were watching a movie, and her friend came to ring the doorbell, and she just up and left.
That's another thing, Tao. What about
She
choosing the
left
movies?
me.
Yeah, because like bye bye, my friends are more
Yeah.
important.
She was like, oh, she's trying to say bye, and then she just left me, and I was like, but we were watching a movie. And then
That
I
gets a
felt
bit
like
tricky, you know. Those days,
abandoned.
our husband and I would be able to show a movie, and everyone will enjoy it because we sort of like, okay, it's gonna be a fun, nice movie for everyone. So he normally downloads a few good movies, and then he'll show it like everyone like, okay, movie night, and Isabel would be a bit like, meh. So yesterday, I dozed off in between, but she said like, I've got something.
Let me just put a disclaimer. I download legally. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Download legally. Okay.
Yeah, okay, that's his disclaimer there. But yeah, so Isabel wanted us to watch one of her anime punya movies lah, and I'm like, oh god, do I have to go through this? But I felt it was very important because I saw her for the first time in a long time. I saw like that excitement in her eyes, like, mama, can you watch this? And she would pause every time I would take the baby. Let's say I'll go and like change his diaper. She'll pause and she'll look at me, wanting me so much to focus on the movie that she loved. And it was actually pretty good. I had to ask her like, I don't understand why she's doing that. Why do I? Because this Japanese movie is a bit pelik sikit for me lah. But yes, I think that was important for her, and it was important for her for me to, acknowledge her likes also, and got the other kids also involved. Yeah. So yeah, that gets a bit tricky, watching movies nowadays. Back then it was so easy. You put on a animation or something that is, you think they all would like. Now it's not.
Even here, Athena is into certain things now, slightly older shows, I guess. But Eleitia doesn't really get it, or she can't really follow it as well. So it's a bit difficult to find something that all of us can watch. But in those times, I usually, they get to take turns to pick. So we just watch whatever they choose, or whatever, my husband or I choose. But yeah, I do agree that it's important to entertain their interests. Like,
that's right.
They wanted to watch the 2020 Mulan. They had seen it already, but they wanted to see it with me and Zan because it was something they wanted to share with us. Aww. And I am personally very against the 2020 Mulan for a myriad of reasons. And I really didn't want to watch it. But because they were so insistent and they asked and asked and asked, I watched it. And I still didn't enjoy it, but I just sat through it anyway. But like you said, lah, they were just so, attentive and made sure that you are also paying attention. So you just pay attention lah and like humor them lah, I guess.
And I guess that's all part of parenting. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just like how you have to. It's not just parenting; it's relationships. Even in there's certain things that I may not really fancy about my husband, but he's so into it. And likewise for him, he doesn't really believe in my kain buruk business, but he just entertains me nonetheless. And that's just a compromise and the give and take that we do, and we have to do that also with our kids, I guess.
My husband and I have a shared interest himself, so I guess you can say it's working out for us.
Poor thing.
But how did
you
download the Mulan? I'm dying to know actually.
I didn't download it. I streamed it. Okay.
No, you can't actually unless you have Disney Plus. You have Disney Plus? Oh, very good.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely giving credit to your kids' interests is, I think, very important. We're trying our best to sort of let them lead the way. Even with Achilles, he's very clear about what he likes and doesn't like already. Because obviously, whose child is he, right? So it's all about letting them lead the way, but also kind of guiding them to be sort of responsible and set boundaries as well. Like, Athena and her friends, for example, when they come, they can play here and play together, and she can have that space and everything. And she's always very interested in telling me what she's doing, so I will listen and indulge her. But at the end of the day, when you're done playing, you better clean up also lah, because I'm not going to like clean up for you, right? And we always tell her that if you are playing here, you are the host, so you are responsible for whatever happens here. So if your friends don't clean up, then it's on you to have to clean up after them lah.
Okay, this is another thing that I want to bring up since you brought it up about house chores. Okay, obviously, the older kids can handle bigger tasks, I think, because of their physical being.
Yeah.
And like Isidore, who may be struggling a bit, and definitely Elon's out of the picture. La. How do you then, because you're a scheduler, so how do you handle that task bit? Because I've not done that. I get everyone to do it, but I'm a little bit more like, oh, Iman, be careful with the plates, be careful with the plates. Isidore, we don't let him clean up at all. But yeah, how do we make it so it's fair, but according to age?
For me, I do it according to their abilities.
Okay.
So like Athena is older. They both help at the table. And like Athena, she can take out a bunch of plates at once. But Eleitia, she'll have to take out one plate at a time. So it's a lot of moving back and forth, but you have to tell her like, okay, be careful, okay, when you carry the plate and stuff like that, which she can do because she wants to do it. I guess I'm lucky because both my girls want to help me at dinner time.
Okay, bless
The
you.
only thing they don't want to do is clean up after themselves. They're okay to clean up after Achilles, you know. Like every night they clean up Achilles' playpen. They'll put all the balls back where it's supposed to be. They put all the shapes back into the shaped box thing. They will organize all the plushies and everything. But when it comes to, okay, take your stuff up, clear out your bag or whatever, they'll be like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll just leave it here first and I'll bring it up later. Yeah.
Actually, on hindsight, my girls do that too. Why do they leave like random toys or pencils or stuff around the house and not put it back to where it's supposed to be? I guess that's another topic altogether. But yeah, that's a little bit, something to ponder on. Why do they do that?
Yeah, so the cleaning up is also, I guess, a kind of communal-ish activity. Mm-hmm. But in that sense, I got lucky lah, because I would imagine that there are households where their kids don't want to do anything at all, which I've also witnessed and seen. And their parents are kind of like struggling. So I'm like, okay, I lucked out there lah. But, in other areas, it can get a little bit intense, especially when the older one feels like she can teach the younger one because she knows better.
Mm-hmm.
So it always seems to come back to that. That is the core frustration at the moment. The older one feels like she can help the younger one by telling her what to do. The younger one doesn't want to be told what to do because she already feels like she knows how to do it already. And I understand the goodwill that Athena has, and I know that she's only trying to help. But I also understand that you cannot diminish Eleitia's experience as a person. So you cannot say, because you're smaller, you have to listen to your sister. That's just how it is. I can't tell her that because that's not fair to her, because then I'm totally disregarding her as a person.
Yeah.
So I'm always mediating between the two and saying like, sometimes you don't know how to do it. Maybe the way that Sister is telling you how to do it is better. Like maybe you don't really know how to do it and she's trying to teach you. So maybe you can help each other. Then I always tell Athena, maybe you should listen to Eleitia as well. If she's telling you that she knows how to do it, you also have to trust that she can do it. So I guess Athena is like you lah. She's like, oh my god, Eleitia, oh my god, you're gonna break. Oh my god, never mind, I do for you. And Eleitia's like, no, I can do it. Just leave me alone. So,
okay, this is another thing. When do you step in when they start fighting amongst themselves?
when I can hear them. So when I can hear them from a different room, that is when I step in.
Because sometimes I hear them fighting and then it's something as stupid as like, oh, why did you kill my character if they're playing games, for instance? And I'm like, they have to deal with it. So I'll look at my husband and we'll go like, leave them. Probably till the noise gets too annoying, like now. But I think it's important also for them to sort themselves out. I remember as a kid, me and my siblings used to fight a lot. And my parents never really interject. But it also helped us to be able to fight our battles.
Probably they were busy doing something else.
They were probably doing something else at the same time. But yes, I'd like to think that it's because they think that we have the ability to be able to fight our battles lah. But yeah, sometimes the kids fight and I'm like,
Well, how do you deal with shared, not really shared property, but like you want to encourage kids to share, right? And because they are different age groups, there are times when they want to play with things that I guess they're not supposed to play with, or maybe they're too old to play with it already, but they still want to play with it, but it doesn't belong to them. Like, do you have that conflict in your house?
Oh, definitely. I think like the switch, the switch was supposed to be for me. It ended up theirs. And you know, we found Isabel sneaking it in one day, and then we said, one, you're not supposed to take it away. You're supposed to be sleeping, so that's the biggest boo boo already. But two, because she purposely hid it so that the batteries would be saved for her the next morning. So she didn't want her siblings to use up the battery lah. And we had to sit down with all of them like, this is what we bought for everyone. You must share. Actually, it actually belongs to us. We're only lending it to you guys, just like your devices, your computers and stuff like that. So don't be so tamak lah, you know, with your barang, because at the end of the day, it actually belongs to us. So that gets a little bit tricky, and we always make sure that you have to look after your barang, you know, don't just throw your cables like this here and there.
I think I just want to add how we should treat our kids is never equal but fair. There's a difference, you know. Just because you have 4 kids doesn't mean that you treat them 25%, 25%. Because one comes first, then the last one, right? So I think this is where the philosophy of telling them we are always fair to all of you but not equal, because you cannot be equal. It doesn't make sense unless you have a quadruple. Even that also, let's just say you have a quadruple child, quadruplet, something like that. Yeah, quadruplet. Maybe one child, let's just say dia cacat or I mean, what's the word what's the political word?
Differently able.
Yeah, differently able.
Thank you, Cheryl.
You cannot even be equal, right? That child
needs more
attention and care and so forth. So, but that's being fair. That's my son using the toilet.
I don't know.
I saw him go.
Why does he have to use our toilet here?
And he left the door open also, by the way.
We have 6 toilets in the house, and
can you please wash your hands?
Okay.
Yeah.
Wash your hands. That's what you're worried about, his hands.
Yes.
What about the other part of him that he probably used to eat?
Well, yeah, he'll lap.
He's 4 years old, so slowly, one thing at a time first. So you so going back to what you're saying, how to make, you know, how do you share one thing with 4 kids, for example? So you know that one child has played it, and then suddenly one comes in just like that. I also want to play the Switch. Then you gotta be fair lah and see who has spent most time with it over ni. But then the other child will say, I'm still playing it. You know, it's not easy, but it needs to be done lah.
It's like a constant thing.
So my kids also use my Switch. I bought for myself when I was pumping. So they use my Switch to play games that they have bought with their points money, because we have a point system at home. And when you reach a certain point, you can redeem it for cash and use that cash to buy whatever you want. So they use it to buy Nintendo Switch games, Switch has. But what I do is that because they have a schedule, I basically schedule in the Nintendo time.
Damn,
so they
girl.
each get half an hour of Nintendo time a day. And if you want extra Nintendo time, you gotta redeem your points. So it's just like that lah. But my current problem is things like that used to belong to Athena, that she gave to Eleitia, but now she also wants to play with it. So then the argument is more a moral thing of, you know, I was the one who gave it to you, but now you gave it to me already, you cannot play with it anymore. Yeah lah, but now I won't play with it also cannot, is it?
That's so uncanny how you can just imitate them.
Yeah. So I've implemented a system where if you're fighting over something,
Yep.
it goes into this box which I call the selfish jail. And when it goes into the selfish
useful
jail,
info here.
when it goes into the selfish jail, it basically gets donated. So
Wow.
You never see it
So
again.
they never see it again.
Never see it again.
We've got Lua here asking a question. How do you resolve fights or loud arguments within siblings? Because my mummy will scream at us. Atau ada mata yang signal senyap sudah. But kids nowadays, we can't do like that ba. Any input?
Okay, you want to go first?
Well, for my kids, I let them resolve themselves, and then after that, I ask the father to go and step in.
Joe, how do you resolve the argument then?
Well, very simple.
I don't actually. Most of the time, if I'm doing something else, but I always believe in on the topic of the argument first. If you are arguing over things that are not important, like material things, I always blame all of them. You know, so I would punish all of them all in one go and resolve it themselves away from me, so I can't hear anything. Then come back with a resolution, or I just take it away and done. You guys will never play it, because for us, I think we believe in sibling love is more important than any material things in life, you know. So if you argue over that, it's gonna solve the most underlying important thing. You love each other, and especially the elders, I think it's most difficult because I'm the eldest in the family. I would always learn to mengalah. I was compromise in English, kan? Compromise. And I think that's the biggest skill to learn as you grow up as a person, no? And being the eldest, that's the biggest skill that I had to learn, to always to teach, to be taught and to experience myself how to compromise and just give in.
But because of that, did you feel some sort of resentment?
Well, when you were small, you always feel resentment towards your siblings.
Yeah, so that gets a bit tricky.
Yeah. But it's just something that you have to teach lah.
What do you do, Cheryl? Well, how would you do it?
Well, growing up, I was the youngest. I am the youngest of 6. And when I came about, all my siblings were not living in the same house. So I grew up more or less on my own. But with Zan, he's the oldest of 3 siblings. And every time the kids fight, he was like, this is normal. You don't know what it's like, but this is normal. Siblings fight like this. The biggest thing I noticed is that my children fight over really the dumbest things. It's like the dumbest things. Like, I already left the shower on for Eleitia, but then she says she cannot reach. And then after that, she scolded me. But no, I already told her not to turn it on. I would turn it on myself, but she's still turning it on. She doesn't listen to me.
I get you.
So I'll go there and I'll be like, what's happening? Why you're screaming at each other? And then they'll each get to tell me a side of their story. And then I will ask them, is this important?
Yeah, the thing is, in their life, that is important, you know, because their life is that shower head. Why is it not there? Why I told you to?
Why didn't I get to turn it on or whatever? Yeah.
So I know we have to stoop down to their level to understand, and for us it's stupid lah, because there are bigger things in life like COVID-19, kan?
We're trying to find money. My God.
Yeah. So
but when I ask them, they will tell me, actually, no, it's not important. And I was like, in the end, do you both get to shower? Yes.
Yeah.
You both clean? Yes.
Exactly.
And like you said, it's always important to stress on sibling love. So we also do that. But we are a little bit more extreme because we will tell them that eventually we're going to die.
Yeah, we do that.
And when we die, all you're going to have is your siblings.
Is each other.
So you got to make a choice now. You want to continue fighting with your sibling and then end up alone? Or do you want to always have a support system that's going to back you even when we die? And
just listening how you reason out with them, I think is, I'm saying that you're raising it. I'm just saying that you're raising them correctly lah. Because I think the most important thing is to talk to them like an adult. We always think that they're small, they don't know anything.
We talk down,
Like, jangan kau bodoh, blah blah blah. You know, if you do things like that, actually that's where you fail already as a parent. You just talk to them nicely as how you talk to your wife, as how you talk to your co-worker and all that, and they will understand. Trust me, they are so smart actually. These kids. You know, I think I know. For me, I noticed that now having Isadore actually, and I have to repeat that. I say actually, if I have spoken to all my other kids better, like how I'm doing now with Isadore, I noticed that he learns faster and he's more obedient. I think that's most important.
Yeah.
They become more obedient actually when you explain to them. You think they don't understand? Of course, they may don't understand some bombastic words that you use, but they anggo, and then after the next time they don't do anymore. No, if you
because you've explained it thoroughly,
and they know why. They know why. I feel like that's always very important. They have to know why. But looking at the society in general, I think we live in a very divisive society of like kakak, abang, adik. And even if you look at the kind of like school holiday activities, right, that people sort of plan or corporates plan for the public, it's always very age specific.
Right.
So like my 5-year-old can't do something with my 12-year-old, or I mean my 9-year-old, and my 9-year-old can't do something with my 5-year-old, unless it's like going to a movie or going to, and even that also, as you've already pointed out, can be divisive.
Yeah.
So what do you think needs to be done about this?
Wow, that's heavy. What in terms of
I guess
what the community is giving or offering?
How can the community sort of make it more inclusive for parents to do things with all their children rather than do it individually? Because as you also know, I'm sure, when it comes to the school holiday time and there's all these age appropriate things to do, it's more stress on us, because then you got to see, okay, 4 o'clock I got to send this floor here, and then 5 o'clock I got to pick this floor and then send the other floor there, but they're not spending time with each other.
You're right. And I think that's one of the reasons, because normally they have these handouts from school, like, but then I'm thinking, one is already cost, two is about logistics, because one has here, because we want, if possible, sekaligus. Go and do it, I mean, it sounds quite selfish for us, but it's for, logistic reasons and stuff like that. So yeah, you're right. There is no
I think
a lot of community activities that they can do.
Like Cheryl was saying about kakak, abang and all that. It is unfortunate but fortunate lah when you do everything first to your firstborn, because you also going through parenthood where you do not know what is next for the firstborn, right? Because right now dia mungkin 13 years old. Next is college and university. So for us is we geared first to the first, and then let the rest see what we're doing it to the first child. So then they will, I think it will be easier for them actually to learn whatever we have segregated. For example, the firstborn, they can go out with their friends to the mall, and then suddenly the 9 years old say, hey shit man, how come? When is my turn? Why can't I do that? Then you explain lah. When you reach 13, for example, then you have your chance to go pula. You can't go now just because you're 9. Let your kakak go, because maybe she's matured to do at that age to tackle certain issues lah. So I think, but then it gets better when, because you have had the practice already kan, or all the mistakes that you made, you can correct it for the 9, for the 4, and then for the 1. I think it's just something that you cannot put all them together because of the different age. Like if you get quadruplets, then mungkin lah. Tapi kan.
Yeah, but I was thinking it was more divisive in terms of their roles. Like we always say, okay, kakak you can buat ni, and then abang buat macam ni, and then the adik does this.
Oh, I see. That's
so
what
then
you
it's
meant.
it's very divisive parenting, which yes, it's also needed because you want them to have their own individual need, but then they're so sort of stuck in that box and they don't sort of blend to do things together in a way.
Yeah, but isn't it age as well? I mean, you cannot ask 13 years old you can bake a cake, and then takkan ada 1 years old you say, okay, you also bake a cake. It's just age. Certain things you can. We always actually in philosophy we put all of them to do one thing together. I mean, like today they bake a cake. A 13-year-old and 9-year-old can bake a cake, but a 4-year-old cannot lah. And we try as much as to not to divide. But when certain things that we know will be just a disaster, we still have to divide them.
Yeah. So for me, for example, right, this baking a cake example, I actually let all 3 of them do it, but I divided in the terms of the roles that they contribute to it. So like obviously Achilles cannot bake a cake, but what Achilles can do is he can like hold a spoon and sit there while we make the cake.
Yeah. So he still feels included.
Yeah. So Eleitia obviously cannot prep all the ingredients and everything, but she can put the stuff into the mixer. So she does that. And then Athena is the one that will put out all the ingredients and read the recipe and go through it one by one. And then my job is to just put it in the oven, that sort of thing. And make sure they don't kill each other in the process. But it works. And
Yeah,
it's
with
still,
Isidore, his position was to eat it.
Yeah, just
That's
now.
a good place to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's all he wants to do anyway. He said, when's it ready?
Yeah.
When's it ready? Makan.
I think both Cheryl and I, we received a hamper from Ben's, and I think that was something fun also for us to do, because it was obviously I wanted it because I'm on a very specific diet. So whilst I enjoy my sweet stuff, I wanted to make sure that I get my dark chocolates and stuff. So it was fun because I had I shared the load with the kids, and obviously some of them didn't like the bitter chocolate because it's dark chocolate, so it's a little bit more bitter and stuff like that. And that was quite nice for us to have a little tasting session, and I made that into a little experience for all of us, as opposed to just oh look, there's food. It was more of like, how do you feel about this? Do you know that this comes from Sungai Ruan, this is Pahang, and we actually produce local chocolates like this. This is how real cocoa tastes like. It's not like the sweet ones that you have in the market. That's why it's a little bit more different, but can you feel the difference? That was quite nice, having that little chat with them.
Yeah, it was. I made all three of the kids try the drinking chocolate, and there were very different experiences and very different opinions to it. But it was also interesting to see how the same, not to say the same product, but it comes from the same place, right? But the different products vary with the different kids. Like Tina really, really likes the drinking chocolate, as you very well know.
Yeah.
But Eleitia doesn't like the chocolate at all, but she likes the buttons.
Oh yeah, that's yummy too.
Yeah, so she will eat all the buttons, but she won't touch the drinking chocolate. Achilles will have both.
Do you know what I really liked? The tea.
Oh yes, and I drink all the tea myself.
Yeah, because at least kepunan lah for me. I because the smell of the tea is there. It's chocolatey, but it's not chocolate, so it's still tea.
It's currently the only tea I can drink because it has no caffeine except for the chocolate. And I can't drink normal tea or coffee because of the breastfeeding, and you don't want to lower the supply. So, and this has actually been kind of good for the supply as well.
Yeah, it is. It's actually quite good. Apparently, the raw cacao nibs that they have inside here. I'm going to show it to the cam right here. There you go. This is the tea bag. Artisan cacao. Cacao, is that how you pronounce it? Tea?
Cocoa lah, kakao.
Cocoa. Okay, la cocoa.
Okay. So I guess we are all agreed that the one thing that will bring all kids together at any age is food.
Yes.
Yeah.
Food and music. Food, but definitely food, yeah.
Definitely food.
Yeah.
Because they're kids. So let's not kid ourselves.
Oh wow, here we are doing live, and we've gone definitely beyond our normal 30 minutes. But yeah, that was quite interesting how we've swapped notes about how to handle and manage children of different ages, and I've learned some new stuff from you. I really have to get my schedule down to the T, man. I think it really worked. Your templates is a bit scary, but I will try and apply it somehow and just slowly introduce it to the kids.
All right
Then.
Great.
Yeah, so that was our first live, and again, Cheryl's going to be editing this so that we can have a more crispier version for my Facebook page, which unfortunately now we can't go live due to some technical problems, but it's okay. In the meantime, do please do subscribe to our YouTube, my YouTube, my Facebook, as well as our Instagram pages, and we'll get more updates with regards to our Swapping Notes episode, which hopefully will be a live weekly thing. Miss Cheryl? Yes. Are we going to do it next week?
Yeah, and the recorded episode will be also up soon. So definitely watch out for that on Daphne's Facebook page, YouTube page, and her Instagram. And I guess my Instagram as well. And if you feel like you have tips to share, because clearly we are a little bit out, like when I kind of are, tweet us or drop us a DM at Daphne Iking and at Cheryl Abusawan.
That's right. So this is our 5th episode of Swapping Notes with Daphne Iking.
Yes, and I am Cheryl Abusawan.
And we are saying goodbye and have a fabulous weekend. Oh, and happy Deepavali.
Oh yeah, happy Deepavali. Okay,
bye for now.